He can fight, yeah. For boxers his level, yes.
Meaning what? Not your level?
I do not believe so. No, not at all.
Mike Tyson brutally attacked Jake Paul after he stirred controversy by tarnishing Tyson's legacy with false rumors about their fight being rigged. Jake also claimed Tyson needed money to step into the ring, further insulting the boxing legend. Tyson's anger was sparked by Paul's disrespectful remarks on November 15th.
I've always been in the gym training. I'm a boxing professional fighters. I'm just, activity is great. I had 15 fights to win you when I was younger, and I think activity is great, but I'm prepared.
A global icon like Mike Tyson begging a YouTuber for cash? That's absurd. But let's take a step back. Does Jake Paul even understand the rules of boxing, or is he just making things up as he goes? It's tough to tell, but it's clear he has no idea what he's talking about, and now he's about to face the consequences. The Tyson-Paul fight may have been the boxing match nobody asked for, but somehow it became the one no one could stop watching. Jake is about to learn a hard lesson in the ring.
Tyson is getting back in the ring. He's 58 years old. He's facing off against YouTuber turned boxer, 27-year-old Jake Paul.
When news broke that 57-year-old Mike Tyson would face off against 27-year-old Jake Paul, the internet collectively raised its eyebrows. Was this a legitimate fight or the world's most bizarre midlife crisis? Critics had already labeled it a circus before the opening bell. The age gap was the least of their concerns. On one side, there was Tyson, a living legend, and on the other, Jake Paul, a social media personality turned boxer, whose greatest weapon is his ability to trend on Twitter. The match felt like mixing vintage wine with cheap soda, but then came Jake's most foolish comment, the supposed financial rescue theory. According to Jake, Tyson practically begged for the fight because he needed the payday. Seriously, the same Tyson who built a cannabis empire and likely has more money hidden in his couch cushions than Jake has in his crypto wallet. Fans were outraged by the disrespect.
There is an alleged script leak. This has not been confirmed. Take it with a grain of salt. No one knows if this is real.
Just as the fight hype began to die down, a script leak surfaced, and it wasn't some random Reddit post. This was a fully detailed round-by-round breakdown of how the fight would supposedly unfold. Tyson starts strong with his iconic bob and weave. Jake weathers the storm, and by round 5, Tyson hits the mat after a perfectly timed right hook. It sounded like something straight out of the Hollywood writer's room. Fans were stunned by how specific the script was and how closely it mirrored reality. Tyson appeared slower, Jake more precise, and even the part about Tyson getting cut above the eye came true. Suddenly, a fight felt less like a legitimate boxing match and more like WrestleMania, but with better PR. The whole thing started to seem like a carefully orchestrated spectacle.
That love Mike, and despite what he said in that interview with the girl about the legacy, we love him and his legacy.
Meanwhile, Tyson stayed suspiciously quiet. There were no furious denials or public outbursts, almost as if he was letting people talk or perhaps trying to figure out who leaked the plot twist. After all, if there was a contract with a non-disclosure clause, someone was in serious trouble. But Jake, being Jake, couldn't keep his mouth shut. On his podcast, he casually mentioned that he eased off during the fight to avoid hurting Tyson. You know, because Tyson was the real threat. This comment exploded faster than one of Tyson's uppercuts. Was Jake admitting the fight was staged? Was he bragging? Or worse, was he too clueless to realize he just spilled a career-ending secret? At this point, the Tyson-Paul fight went from being merely controversial to straight-up legendary for all the wrong reasons. Fans weren't just questioning the match anymore. They were rewriting the entire storyline in their heads.
Exactly. I started to, matter of fact, thank you. I started Jake Paul off.
Mike Tyson's patience snapped faster than Jake Paul's claims of being a legitimate boxer. After weeks of rigging accusations and seeing the ridiculous leaked fight script spread like wildfire, Tyson finally fired back, and it wasn't with his fists. In an interview with Fox Sports Radio, the former heavyweight champ dismissed the rumors, declaring it was a real fight. He didn't just say it, he practically growled it, daring anyone to question whether getting punched 78 times was part of some grand conspiracy. Tyson wasn't just brushing off the allegations, he was seething. His point was simple: you don't fake waking up the next day feeling like you've been run over by a cement truck. The pain was real.
Look at my life as a legacy. Legacy to me means ego. Who the cares about my legacy? I'm gonna be dead soon one day, but he's not gonna win.
But this wasn't just about physical pain. Tyson's real fury came from what the rigging rumors did to his legacy. For Tyson, it wasn't just an insult. It was a slap in the face with brass knuckles. His legendary status now came with asterisks, all thanks to a viral fight script that read like something rejected from an Rocky sequel. Behind the scenes, the whispers got even juicier. Insiders claim there was a non-disclosure agreement, NDA, involved, the kind that comes with terrifying legal warnings in all caps. If true, this would have barred anyone from spilling details about the fight being anything less than 100% authentic. Yet, Jake Paul couldn't resist playing fast and loose with the facts on his podcast. He casually claimed he eased off during the match as if he were some merciful boxing god granting Tyson a pass. This wasn't just Jake being cocky, it was potentially NDA-breaking cocky. Sources hinted that Tyson was ready to go full legal bulldog if the NDA existed. Jake might have crossed a line thicker than Tyson's boxing gloves. Tyson's rumored rage wasn't just about the fight, it was about protecting the brand he'd spent decades building. The same brand Jake Paul was now dragging through the mud for content clicks.
Welcome back to The Pain Game. Today we're going to talk Darren Till versus Tommy Fury / John Fury, of course. But first, some more important and quite serious news in the combat sports world. Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, it's come out now. It was rigged. I can't believe it. You know, you have to question the validity of boxing these days when you can't trust two professionals to get in the ring and do their best against each other. And instead you find out Mike Tyson pulling his punches, not trying to hurt Jake Paul. Absolute disgrace. I thought better of them. You know, I really did. I thought that Mike Tyson, especially, Iron Mike, he was just going to go in there and knock Jake clean out. But here he is, not trying. I'm so disappointed in him. But you don't need to take it from me.
The fight itself only added fuel to the fire. Statistically, Jake Paul outperformed Tyson in nearly every measurable way, minus 78 punches landed versus Tyson's paltry 18. On paper, it looked like a masterclass in boxing domination. But there was one glaring issue. It was Mike Tyson. The man who knocked out legends with fewer punches than that on his worst days. Seeing Tyson struggle to land even a few clean shots felt like watching Superman lose a wrestling match to SpongeBob. Yet, ringside footage told a different story. From the crowd's perspective, the hits looked brutal and painfully real. Tyson didn't seem like someone playing a scripted role. He looked like someone desperately trying to relive past glory while his body begged him to sit down. His iconic bob and weave looked more like a slow shuffle, and his punches came with the speed of a buffering YouTube video. Even Tyson himself admitted to feeling off, confessing to blanking out mid-fight. What raised even more eyebrows was the question of why. Was it exhaustion, age, or something deeper nobody saw coming? Whatever it was, his sluggish performance only fueled the conspiracy theories. Even if the truth was far less dramatic, it was undeniable. Time was catching up with him.
But that changed when Paul clenched with Tyson. It's alleged he whispered into Tyson's ear to cool him.
Then came the aggression factor. Ringside analysts noticed something interesting. Jake Paul wasn't holding back. He was throwing punches with bad intentions, landing sharp combinations, and even cutting Tyson above the eye. Jake's competitive streak was in full force, as if he'd forgotten he was supposed to be playing the entertainer and started fighting like a man desperate for legitimacy. And you know what the root cause of all this is? Money. Jake Paul, never one to miss a chance to stir the pot, claimed Mike Tyson approached him out of financial desperation. According to Jake, Tyson needed the fight to keep his bank account from going the way of empty.
I did tell you about it. At the time, I wanted to do a pay-per-view roast, like it was a boxing match, and they'd said, oh yeah, Mike can make $20 million.
Then came the juicy pay-per-view, PPV, debate. Industry insiders whispered that both fighters walked away with hefty seven-figure paydays. But did Tyson feel shortchanged? If Jake earned more due to his internet clout, it likely added extra sting to Tyson's already bruised pride. Imagine spending decades building a legendary career only to be out-earned by a guy famous for pranking strangers on YouTube. Ouch. The real question was Tyson's return to the ring a strategic business move or a desperate grasp at glory? Some said he wanted one last taste of the spotlight before retirement, or maybe just to prove that even at 57, he could still rearrange someone's face. But stepping into the ring with Jake Paul wasn't just risky. It was like a retired lion challenging a loudmouth hyena. Tyson might have been thinking easy payday, but he clearly underestimated how far Jake would go for clout. Social media wasn't kind either. Fans roasted Jake for allegedly disrespecting Tyson, accusing him of milking the fight for publicity while trashing a living legend. Memes, think pieces, and angry tweets flew like punches in a street brawl. In the court of public opinion, Jake wasn't just the villain, he was the final boss of boxing trolls.
Reason and one reason only, and that is the money. He's getting paid so much money to do this, so that tells me he's getting bought. So again, it is sad that someone like Mike Tyson...
Rumor has it, Mike Tyson didn't just walk away from the fight, he stormed away, leaving behind a trail of blistering words aimed directly at Jake Paul. Insider sources claim Tyson unleashed a verbal knockout during a private post-fight conversation, telling Jake to stop ruining my legacy, keep my name out of your clout-chasing mouth. Classic Tyson, sharp, direct, and ready to bite back. There's even speculation that Tyson's team is considering legal action for potential contract violations. If Jake truly hinted at fight fixing on his podcast, he might have broken the golden rule of celebrity fights. Don't talk about the script. Tyson's lawyers are reportedly watching closely, ready to pounce if Jake continues running his mouth. So what does all this chaos mean for the future of boxing? Has the sport crossed a point of no return where hype and headlines matter more than skill and legacy? Can boxing survive when fights feel more scripted than spontaneous? And most importantly, how long before fans stop tuning in altogether, tired of wondering whether they're watching a real contest or just another pay-per-view soap opera? The ring was once a place where legends were forged. Now it's starting to look like just another stage.